The concept of Yaoyorozu no Kami, or the 8 million gods, lies at the very heart of the Japanese spirit and its unique perception of the world. This term does not refer to a literal count of deities, but rather signifies an infinite, uncountable number of divine presences. It embodies the belief that divinity is not confined to a single, distant entity in the heavens, but is woven into the very fabric of existence. From the grandest mountain peak to the smallest pebble in a stream, from the wind that rustles the leaves of a towering camphor tree, to the gentle rain that nourishes the rice paddies, a spiritual essence, or kami, is thought to reside within all things. This worldview fosters a profound sense of connection between humanity and the natural world. This belief system emerged from a deep and abiding reverence for nature. For the ancient inhabitants of the Japanese archipelago, the natural environment was both a generous provider and a formidable force. The sea offered its bounty, the forests provided shelter and sustenance, and the fertile plains yielded life-giving harvests. These blessings were not taken for granted. They were seen as gifts from the kami inhabiting those spaces. Consequently, a feeling of gratitude and respect became the foundation of their spiritual life. People understood their own existence as being intrinsically linked to the well-being of the world around them, a world teeming with countless divine spirits. Conversely, nature also possessed a terrifying and destructive capacity. Typhoons could level homes, floods could wash away entire villages, and earthquakes could shatter the land without warning. These catastrophic events were also attributed to the power of the kami, seen as expressions of their displeasure or raw, untamable power. This duality of creation and destruction inspired a deep-seated awe, a feeling known as ike, which combines reverence with a healthy measure of fear. It was this powerful emotion that shaped the early relationship between the Japanese people and the divine, a relationship built on respect for forces far greater than themselves. Therefore, the 8 million gods are not merely characters in ancient myths, but are active participants in the ongoing story of the world. This perspective encourages a holistic view of life, where the sacred and the mundane are not separate domains. Everything, from a tool used in daily labor to the food prepared in a kitchen, could possess its own spirit. This animistic belief permeated every aspect of life, creating a culture where the divine was a constant and intimate presence. It was a world alive with spirits, where every rock, river, and tree had a name, a story, and a sacred identity that demanded acknowledgement and respect. The origins of this faith, which would later be known as Shinto, are as ancient as the Japanese landscape itself. Long before grand structures were built, people identified places of remarkable natural power and beauty as sacred. An ancient, gnarled tree, a majestic waterfall cascading down a cliff, or a uniquely shaped rock formation were considered yorishiro, places where the kami were believed to descend or reside. These natural sanctuaries became the first places of worship. People would approach these sites with humility, leaving simple offerings like rice or sake, to express their gratitude for blessings, or to appease the spirits and ward off misfortune, a practice that continues to this day. The relationship with the divine was deeply practical and tied to the cycles of survival, particularly agriculture. With the widespread cultivation of rice during the Yayoi period, the kami associated with water, weather, and the land became especially important. For instance, snakes, which were often found near water sources, vital for irrigating rice fields, came to be revered as messengers of water gods, or even as deities themselves. The snake's ability to shed its skin also made it a powerful symbol of renewal, life force, and regeneration, concepts that were central to the agricultural calendar of planting and harvesting. The entire process of farming was a collaboration with these unseen forces. Mythology provided a narrative framework for understanding this complex relationship. The great myths, such as the legend of Susanoo no Mikoto slaying the eight-headed serpent, Yamata no Orochi, are more than just epic tales. Many scholars interpret this story as a symbolic representation of taming a raging river, the serpent, to control floods and make the land safe for cultivation. When Susanoo discovers the sacred sword, Kusanagi no Tsurugi, inside the serpent's tail, it is believed to symbolize the discovery and mastery of iron-making technology in the Izumo region. These myths encoded practical history, technological advancements, and the people's ongoing struggle to live in harmony with nature's power. As communities grew and societal structures became more complex, the need for more permanent and organized places of worship arose. This led to the construction of shrines, or jinja, often built at or near the original sacred natural sites. These structures were not intended to house the kami in the sense of a prison, but to create a pure and respectful space to invite and honor them. The shrine became a formal interface between the human world and the divine realm, a dedicated ground where prayers, rituals, and festivals could be held to ensure the continued goodwill of the 8 million gods and the prosperity of the community. Shrines evolved to become central pillars of community life, seamlessly integrated into the daily rhythms of the Japanese people. They were not just places to visit on special occasions, but focal points for the spiritual and social well-being of a village or neighborhood. People prayed at shrines for a multitude of reasons that mirrored the concerns of everyday existence. They prayed for a bountiful harvest, for safety at sea for the fishermen, for the health of a newborn child, or for recovery from illness. The act of prayer was a direct and personal dialogue with the local kami, the guardian spirit believed to watch over the community. This intimate connection was reinforced through offerings and rituals. Bringing a gift to the shrine, whether it was a portion of the first rice harvest, a bottle of fine sake, or a simple monetary donation, was an act of reciprocity. It was a tangible expression of gratitude for the blessings received and a humble request for continued protection. This was not a transactional relationship in a commercial sense, but rather a covenant of mutual respect. By caring for the shrine and honoring the resident kami, the people believed the kami would, in turn, care for them, creating a cyclical flow of goodwill and protection that bound the community together. Festivals, or matsuri, became the most vibrant expression of this bond. These lively events, often held seasonally, were communal celebrations to thank the kami and invigorate the spirit of the entire community. During a matsuri, the kami would be carried through the town in a portable shrine called a mikoshi, allowing the deity to survey its domain and bless the people. These festivals strengthened social ties, reaffirmed shared beliefs, and provided a joyful release from the hardships of daily life. They were a powerful reminder that faith was not a solitary pursuit, but a shared experience that gave the community its identity and strength. The Shinto worldview, with its myriad gods, also fostered a remarkable spiritual inclusivity. The belief in 8 million gods meant there was no single, absolute truth or a jealous god demanding exclusive devotion. This is one reason why Buddhism, when it arrived in Japan in the 6th century, was able to coexist and even merge with native Shinto beliefs in a process called Shinbutsu Shugo. People saw no contradiction in praying at a Shinto shrine for worldly blessings like a good harvest, and also visiting a Buddhist temple to pray for enlightenment or for the souls of their ancestors. This spiritual flexibility became a defining characteristic of Japanese culture. In contemporary Japan, the legacy of the 8 million gods endures, yet its foundations are showing signs of erosion. Many people continue to visit shrines, especially during the new year, for weddings or to purchase good luck charms. These customs remain a visible part of the cultural landscape. However, for a growing number of Japanese, these acts have become detached from their original spiritual meaning. They are often practiced as cultural traditions or for seasonal custom rather than out of a deep-seated faith in the kami. The profound understanding of why a specific deity is enshrined or the history behind a local shrine is fading from collective memory. This gradual disconnection can be traced to several modern developments. Following World War II, educational reforms led to a separation of state and religion, and subjects like Japanese mythology and the nation's spiritual history were largely removed from the public school curriculum. Over time, discussing these myths became a sensitive topic, sometimes unfairly associated with nationalism. As a result, generations have grown up without a formal education in the foundational stories that shaped their culture's worldview. This educational void has made it difficult for younger people to connect with the spiritual significance behind the rituals they still practice. The relentless pace of modernization and urbanization has also played a significant role. As people moved from rural villages to sprawling concrete cities, their direct, daily dependence on the whims of nature diminished. The spiritual connection that came from living in close proximity to forests, mountains, and rivers has been replaced by a life mediated by technology and commerce. The local shrine, once the heart of a close-knit agricultural community, can feel like an anachronism in a bustling metropolis. The spirits of the mountains and rivers seem more distant when one's life is spent surrounded by skyscrapers and subways. Despite these challenges, the importance of this spiritual heritage as a source of Japanese identity remains profound. These traditions and myths are not merely relics of the past. They contain a timeless wisdom about living in harmony with our environment and fostering strong community bonds. They teach humility in the face of forces beyond our control and gratitude for the blessings of life. Recovering a connection to the world of the 8 million gods is not about returning to a bygone era. It is about rediscovering a spiritual anchor in a rapidly changing world and remembering that we are part of a larger, interconnected web of life that is, in its own way, sacred.